Namaste, Jai Bharat. There are intense speculations about the tariff US imposed on China in particular, and then the freezing of tariff for 90 days for all others except China. All other nations, something 75 plus 77 nations, were willing to talk to US. There's intense speculation. But in the meantime, what China is trying to do, they're resisting, they're attempting to resist. And I don't know, because China is a closed society, iron curtain society, what's happening inside, we do not know. In the meantime, there were news that says that there is amount of, I don't know how, but some amount of unrest within China. The youth are revolting against whatever is going on. There are troubles in China. The roads are blocked. Their shipment is not going. They have closed down some 4 ports unofficially. That because there is no place to keep containers. All these things news coming in. People are unhappy and should be unhappy because there's a possibility that suddenly they lose a job. Maybe it's an exaggeration, but there's a possibility that foreign companies who are functioning within China are likely to shift. Of course, this just can't just can't happen overnight. You just can't pluck this sapling from one point to another point just like that. It shall take its own kind of technical time. But then these thoughts must be running in the minds of most people who have invested in China. And then they have to look for other places where they can make convenient profit. There will be some profit loss calculation. All these relations in modern time is based on profit loss calculations, etc., which of course is natural. We can't be making complaints against them. But this whole situation is very uncertain. We do not know, and there are many people who speculate that this shall be of great benefit to Bharat, because these companies are mostly they're likely to come to Bharat and establish, because the world has just one alternative to China, that's Bharat, in all kinds of things. But then some other people say that we ready to receive that kind of amount? But are we capable of facilitating such companies operating within Bharat and making predictions? But then the dynamic state that we have today in Bharat is promising. That apprehension need to be taken that serious. Since there's a dynamic state, there's a flexible state, and the people's capability. Another thing is that people say Chinese youth are more trained than the people of Bharat. Even if that's the case, I don't know. Even if that's the case, we are quick learners. That one thing we should remember. We are fast learners, and we have an advantage of the language. Most educated people in Bharat speak English, so those who come from Europe or other places shouldn't and wouldn't have the linguistic problem. And maybe Chinese are more disciplined. I don't know. Chinese must be more disciplined because they live under that iron curtain society. They can tend to be indisciplined when they go abroad, if at all the case. But I don't think. Let's be very, very seriously realistic. There may be a slight differences, or I would only say slight, between the Chinese youth and the youth of Bharat as a matter of discipline. But then one thing is clear, that Hindus in general have an internal inherent system of discipline. So it's promising that way. They're not indisciplined. That word can't be used, that people are indisciplined. This, of course, there's a Hindu discipline functioning for tens of thousands of years. So there's something we're bearing. The bearing of dharma is upon the entire society. People are conscious that we can do this. These are things that we can do, and these are things which we can't do. Now, this inherent internal discipline is there. So that kind of a mechanical discipline, what you see in China, is much inferior compared to the inherent natural discipline which the Hindus have in Bharat. So I mean that is not a serious problem. But making things available like electricity and infrastructure, etc., is not that great problem, because you're already making make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat kind of things. So there's a possibility that these things can happen in time. It's not that this company shall only come to Bharat; they go to all neighbor places. In the meantime, China is trying to befriend the Asian neighbors with the hope of making a kind of Asian bloc, not Eastern bloc exactly, Asian bloc, which is expected to be formidable against the US bloc, if there is a bloc. I don't know how much. So this, of course, can't be very successful. And here, of course, what would we do in this situation where China is going to make a Asian bloc, and now US is trying to make their own friends where Bharat should stand? These things that remains to be seen. In the world of trade, in the corporate world, it's profit that matters. Who is a better facilitator? Who's better beneficial? Etc. All these things shall be seen and can be seen. But as it is now, all predictions are very ambitious. You can really not be sure of things. Let's hope that things would be positive for the nation. So we shall see again with some other thought. Namaste. Jai Bharat, Jai Shri Ram.